I live here, in England, in what I guess most people would call a rather big van. But when it is your full-time home, it does start to feel a little bit on the small side. The truth is, I actually can't afford a house here in England. The housing market has gone completely mad, and being self-employed doesn't exactly make getting a mortgage very easy. So instead of buying a house, I built one. Well, technically I built a Cottage-Core bus. It took me 3 years, and yes, a lot of questionable DIY decisions, and probably a slightly unhealthy relationship with Pinterest. But somehow, I actually turned this bus into a really cosy little home. And now that she's finished, I've decided to move her and myself down to one of the most dreamiest places in England. Devon and Cornwall. Within the van life community, I've actually been strongly advised not to come to Cornwall in summer. Cornwall is one of England's favourite holiday destinations, which means that every summer millions of people descend upon this tiny peninsula, resulting in Cornwall's very small roads having very large traffic jams and a lot of slightly irritated locals, none of which are particularly ideal when your house happens to be a rather large bus, which obviously means that wild camping is kind of a no-no, which is a shame, because if you know me, you know that is my absolute favourite. Wild, dreamy park-ups. Anyway, despite that, I really don't want to miss out on a summer in Cornwall. So I've actually managed to find some places to park that are cheap, legal, and have epic, beautiful views.
Got into a fight. Well, I feel so break up. I wanna go home.
So this is where I'm staying tonight. I found these little farmers' fields that open up for camper vans during the summer months. This one is just outside of the town Bude, and it's only £10 a night, which, considering this view from my back door, feels like a reasonable housing situation. So lovely, that view, isn't it? I found this place on an app called Park for Night, which is basically how most van lifers find places to stay. It's kind of like Airbnb, but for fields and car parks. The facilities here are rustic. There's a slightly questionable toilet, but there is a water tap and a bin. Luckily, my bus is self-contained, so I've got my own toilet and shower and solar power. So the only thing I really need is water, which is exactly what they've got here. Perfect. So this bus here has a 2-tank situation, a freshwater tank and a wastewater tank. So I fill up the fresh tank here, and then all the water I use, like washing up, showering, brushing my teeth and all that, goes into the waste tank. And then every so often I have to find somewhere else to empty it. Glamorous stuff. Despite it being technically summer here in England, the weather can change in a matter of seconds. And on this particular evening, the heavens opened, the rain came pouring down, and as the darkness rolled in, so did a thunderstorm. So, look at this mess. I'm in a bit of an issue, but this here is leaking like no tomorrow, and it's come down into the floor here. I don't know if you can see there. I just got a wet sock, so then I just had to move the telly and all my clothes because it's my palm, my bloody clothes at night. This is not, and look, it's made that so soaking wet. Oh, horrible. Just like, why have we got drama at night? This has happened to me the last couple of nights, just like when I go to bed and it's just about to be like massive drama. And that is not what you want when you're just about to go to sleep. Like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? And I'm on the edge of this cliff, which is a beautiful spot, but there's thunder, there's lightning, there's really heavy rain, there's winds, and now I'm a bit scared because I'm the only person up here. I've got to go to bed. And also last night I had a really massive spider in here that I got out myself, which is so brave of me. I hate spiders, but so that's made me paranoid. Van life, yeah. Turns out when your house is made of metal, leaks are sometimes part of the deal.
So I don't know if you can hear this, but
I suspect this wouldn't be happening if I lived in a proper brick house, but seeing as I actually can't afford one of those, I suppose a leaky bus will have to do.
everything, like the whole bus is doing this. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like I'm making that weird like woo woo. I don't know why it's doing that. Genuinely like a little bit scared. It's so silly because I live in England, so the weather is hardly anything like anywhere else in the world. We are so tame. I'm in Cornwall, and I'm just like such a little scaredy cat. Oh, am I gonna be able to sleep tonight? Hopefully. The storm's over and it's so nice outside, look.
I suppose every lifestyle comes with a few compromises. Mine just happens to involve occasionally wondering if my house might blow away at 2 a.m. during a thunderstorm. Still, waking up to a view like this does make it feel slightly more worth it. And after a week here, I think it's about time to see what other beautiful corners of Cornwall we can find. I've decided to stay here tonight, a little spot right outside of Tintagel. It's right next to the beautiful coastline, not quite perched on the edge of a cliff like my last spot, which I have to admit makes me feel slightly more relaxed. And it's only £5 a night, which considering this view, it feels like a bit of a bargain to me. Look at that. Not bad for a £5 a night car park, eh? Just down the road is the little town of Tintagel, which is famous for its connection to the legend of King Arthur. Apparently, this is where King Arthur was said to have been born, which makes the whole place feel a little bit magical. One thing that I absolutely love about travelling around Cornwall is how different all of the little coastal towns feel. And I thought, I'll share with you some of my favourites. Before we get into all the pretty Cornish towns, there's something I should probably explain. You might notice that from here on out, some clips it's just me, in other clips Winnie suddenly appears, my dog, and sometimes there are my friends or even family around. And that's because I actually ended up spending a few months down here in Cornwall over the summer. So what you're watching is really a collection of all those little moments stitched together to try and tell some sort of story about what life in a cottagecore bus by the sea has actually been like. And funnily enough, coming to Cornwall for the summer means I've actually had quite a lot of visitors. One question people often ask about solo van life is whether it gets lonely and how do I deal with the isolation. But honestly, I've found that if you park your tiny home somewhere beautiful, people suddenly become very keen to come and visit. And having friends around does make van life even more fun. Well, I think so anyway, even if they do have to put up with my truly terrible cooking. Sorry guys.
Is it done? I don't know. Put it in there for... No. It's not, is it? Try. Oh, yeah. It's a hard potato. It's not that warm. That's cold. No. You want to put it back in the oven? None of it's done. Not even like a little bit though. So annoying. I hate shit. I hate cooking.
But aside from that, it's been really nice being able to share this little bus life with people. Doing things like, yoga outside the van, and even attempting surfing this summer, which is also why Winnie isn't always with me. For one thing, vans get really quite hot in summer, and I don't have air conditioning yet. It's on my to-do list. But anyway, secondly, Winnie suffers a little bit from separation anxiety, so leaving her alone in the van while I go off and do things like surfing, isn't really an option. So sometimes she stays with Mum, and sometimes she comes back to join me. And honestly, it's probably good practice because this year I'm actually going to be spending quite a bit of time away from Winnie, which you'll find out more about in my next video. Although if I'm honest, I'm feeling slightly apprehensive about the whole thing. Because as much as I love the freedom that van life gives me, I've realised this summer in Cornwall that I really love having my loved ones and friends come to visit. So while I'm off on my next big adventure, I'm for sure going to be relying pretty heavily on my phone to stay connected to everyone back home, which is why I've actually been using using Saily. Now, Saily is an eSIM, which is basically a digital SIM card, and I'm so happy that they're the sponsor of today's video because
Basically, it lets you sort out your mobile data before you have even got on the plane.
Saily works in over 200 destinations worldwide. All you have to do is download the app, choose where you're traveling, pick a data plan, and then install the SIM. And when you arrive, you're simply connected.
So if you're travelling this year, you can get an exclusive 15% discount on Saily data plans.
Using my code BUSOFFWITHJOSIE. Just download the Saily app or use the link in my description and pinned comment and then enter BUSOFFWITHJOSIE at checkout. Right, let's enjoy the rest of Cornwall before I take you somewhere far, far away next time. And where were we? Oh yes, beautiful Cornish towns that I love. Oh my god, they're so cute. Right, let me show you. Starting off strong with Polperro, quite possibly one of the prettiest little fishing villages in Cornwall. But if you're bringing a vehicle bigger than a Mini, I'd recommend parking outside the village and walking in. Next up, Porthleven. This is a proper little working harbour, and it's become quite well known for its food scene. And finally, Port Isaacs. Back at my little £5 car park near Tintagel, which remains still to this day one of my favourite places to stay in Cornwall. Partly because it is incredibly cheap, and partly because if you're going to live in a car park, it might as well be one with a view like this. This part of Cornwall has always had a rather unfair advantage where I'm concerned. My family have been coming here for years. Me, my mum, my brother, sometimes cousins and aunties, basically half the family tree at one point or another. And you know, when life gets a bit complicated sometimes, Mum and I always seem to end up back here. There's something about this coastline that feels different to everywhere else. A little wilder, a little older, slightly witchier, if that's even a word. Maybe it's all those King Arthur stories, maybe it's the sea. Maybe it's just years of family holidays making me wildly biased. But I do sometimes think that places can affect how you feel, which sounds dangerously close to something you'd find embroidered on a cushion, yet standing here, I think it might actually be true.
It's fine. It just means we're going to have a cosy day in the bus, napping, and I've been working actually. I do kind of want something nice to eat. I have got, you know, lots of new vegan cheeses, dairy-free, plant-based, plant-based, plant-based. Can I put it in the oven is the question. Ingredients. Oh yeah, bake in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Cool. Okay. So the packaging told me to put it in a little pot. I guess maybe if it spreads out. The only thing I have is this. I've never put this in the oven. There is an animal. And I've just had a Google and apparently, oh, right angle. Great filming. So professional. Try 10 then. Oh, you're on an angle. What is going on with my tripod? That's so annoying. How long have you been filming on an angle? Great. Fantastic. And I can't redo that.
One of the things I really love about this spot, besides the fact it's within walking distance of Tintagel, the town, is that you can also walk straight down to the beach. Which means you get all the practical advantages of being near a town, like food shopping, supplies, civilization, while still feeling like you've escaped to the middle of nowhere.
It's one of those places that feels like a secret. But as beautiful as this beach is, there is another beach near one of my other favourite park-ups that I think I may like even better. This is Bedruthan Steps. Now I realise I spent most of this video declaring various bits of Cornwall to be my favourite, but this one really is up there. And the best part is there is a campsite nearby. As you probably know by now, I'm a girl who loves a view. In fact, I'd go as far as saying a good view has become one of my main criteria when choosing where to live. You fell into a hole. Which perhaps explains why I currently live in a bus, but look at it. I don't know if you can see. Oh my God. When I was like building the bus and stuff, I really enjoyed doing new skills. And I wanted to just continue learning new stuff. Surfing is one of them. Anyway, we'll go. Now, naturally, after moving my Tony home to the Cornish coast, I've decided that this summer is the summer that I would finally become the sort of woman who surfs. You know, effortlessly gliding across the waves. Unfortunately, the reality is somewhat different, and to make matters worse, there appears to only be 3 other surfers out in the water today. You know, like, if there's like loads of people here en masse, then being crap doesn't matter because you're blending with the crowd, but when you crap and there's only 4 people, and it's the kind of beach where I feel like they're all going to be really, really good, and I've got to be below average, seriously. A real beginner. It's okay! Ooh, whacked my board. Oopsie. Okay, we're real going in now, so I'm actually going to pause you and see you later after. Despite several determined attempts, standing up on my board still remains more of an occasional accident rather than actual skill. Sometimes I do manage it for a split second. Well, until this happens. Well, that was fun. You nearly died. Look at the water. Ah, I would have been so upset my phone would have got in the water. Maybe won't do that shot. As it turns out, surfing and filming yourself surfing are 2 completely different skills, and I possess neither. So here's me just sitting in a puddle instead. Now, this campsite on the top of the cliff is somewhere I'd happily stay for weeks at a time. It's a little bit more expensive than the previous ones I've showed you. It's £10 per person per night, which is the same for me, but you know, if you have 6 children, it can get quite pricey. So they've got proper toilets, washing up stations, a cafe that does vegan crepes, a sauna, pizzas at the weekend. Frankly, it does all become rather luxurious. And whilst, yes, technically I do have a shower on my bus, I also use it as a cupboard, which means having a shower involves first removing half of my possessions into the middle of the room. So sometimes it's just, you know, easier for me to use the campsite one. And when friends come to visit, places like this are brilliant. Not because my friends are particularly high maintenance, but because everyone gets their own facilities and nobody has to receive a lengthy briefing on how to operate my compost toilet, which I think we can all agree is a much nicer way to spend a holiday. Now, of course, just because I live in a van doesn't mean that every day is a holiday. I mean, there's still emails to answer, laundry to do, work deadlines and food shopping. The endless little life admin jobs that seem to follow you around regardless of where you live. But it just so happens that my office today is by the sea. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love van life so much. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, it doesn't. You still have the same responsibilities, you just get to do them somewhere beautiful. Which admittedly helps quite a lot. But the reality is, a house in Cornwall with this view would cost an amount of money so large that I don't even enjoy thinking about it. Whereas tonight, it's costing me £10. And for now, at least, that feels like a pretty good deal. But let's change it up and go somewhere new. This is Sennen, right down at the very tip of Cornwall near Land's End, and standing here I do occasionally wonder how exactly I ended up in this situation. Because a few years ago I was desperately trying to find out how I was ever going to be able to afford a house. And now, somehow, I've driven a Cottage-Core bus to the edge of Cornwall and I'm wandering around the coastal paths pretending I'm in a Victorian novel. Which, admittedly, wasn't the original plan, but I do think it's a better one. One of the reasons why I wanted to come to Cornwall for the summer was to answer a question I actually get all the time. Is van life actually worth it? Because, yes, sometimes your windows leak. Sometimes you're filling up water tanks in the rain. Sometimes you're lying awake at 2 a.m. wondering if your house is about to blow off into the Antarctic. But then you get days like this. And suddenly all of those things feel much less important. And I've become slightly obsessed with these coastal paths. Not in a healthy way, particularly. Just every time I walk a little section of them, I convince myself that next year I am definitely going to walk the entire Cornish coastline. Despite having absolute no evidence that I'm even capable of such a thing. But anyway. And then, as always in England, the weather changed. Which happens rather dramatically down here. 1 minute, everything was sunshine and turquoise water. And the next, the mist rolls in from the sea, and honestly, if you've never seen it happen before, it is quite strange. The world just slowly disappears. The horizon disappears, the cliffs disappear. Even the sea seems to vanish. When you get down here, it is like, I just think Cornwall has so many like hidden gems, paradise, basically. I feel like I'm in my mermaid elements, beachy. And for a brief moment standing there in the fog, I can completely understand why Cornwall is full of stories about smugglers, shipwrecks and mermaids. Because if someone had actually pointed out into that mist and told me that there was a mermaid living out there, I would have thought, well, yeah, obviously. It would explain quite a lot. So I came to Cornwall for the views, which definitely delivered spectacularly. But what I actually didn't expect was how much I'd enjoy the actual lifestyle down here. There's like surfing, art classes, dance classes, tiny independent cafes, and a surprisingly young community of people all doing slightly unconventional things with their lives, which I found deeply reassuring. Because sometimes when you live in a bus, it's easy to feel like you've wandered slightly off of the traditional path. And then you come somewhere like this and you realise actually there's quite a lot of us, just all making it up as we go along. One of my favourite discoveries was the Minack Theatre. So this is an open air theatre that's like carved into the side of a cliff, which sounds less like a theatre and more like the sort of thing someone would invent in a dream, but yet here it is. Performances are happening with the Atlantic Ocean as the backdrop. Honestly, if I ever dance professionally again, performing here would be amazing, although knowing me, I'll probably spend the entire show getting distracted by the view. Or a passing seal. Or both. I think when I first moved into the bus, it was kind of to solve a problem that, I couldn't afford a house. It was just as simple as that. But at the end of this summer in Cornwall, and in fact, my entire trip around the UK and Ireland, I don't think that's why I love van life anymore. I love van life because I like waking up somewhere different. I like it because my friends can come on holiday with me. And because every now and then I get to spend a random Tuesday afternoon looking at something that completely makes me forget to check my emails, which feels increasingly valuable these days. So no, okay, I still can't afford a cottage in Cornwall, but for one summer I got to live by the sea anyway. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good alternative. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you in the next video because I'm gonna need your support because we're going somewhere very, very far from here. Oh, I'm a bit nervous.